Hiya, I'm Gabriella Jukes, Miss World Wales 2019, and you're watching the Pageant and PJ's podcast.
Hey everyone, it's Adrian from the Pageant Project with you. My very special return guest for tonight is a familiar face, Miss World Wales 2019, Gabriella Jukes. Gabriella, how are you?
Hello, I'm very good, thank you. How are you doing? Thanks for having me back on as well for the final time as Miss Wales.
I was going to say, would this be almost your final interview / appearance as Miss World Wales 2019? Do you have anything else lined up?
Possibly. I have one or two next week on SOC, the Welsh channel, and I think I have another Instagram live one next week. But that'll be it then. That'll be the final ones.
So how does it, I told you I was going to ask you this, how does it feel now that you finally reached the end of the road, so to speak? I don't know, it's happy feelings, elated feelings, sad feelings, mixed feelings, because this title has been, how long has it been a part of your life for?
Well, I've had the title for 2.5 years, so it's been quite some time, but my whole Miss World journey started, nearly 8 years ago, I think. It was quite a long time ago, so it feels like it's mixed feelings, like the end of a chapter, so to speak, I think. But, it's mixed feelings. I'm feeling quite emotional, I think, towards it, because I've been Miss Wales for 2.5 years. It's quite a long time to be, known as something, but I'm excited to pass it on to someone else and see what they can bring to the role as well. So mixed feelings, yeah.
I think that makes sense. I mean, you've had a very long reign, and hopefully, depending on how the pandemic goes, it will be the longest reign ever. I don't think we want to push that record even further out. But you've reigned through a pandemic, which I'm assuming when you first took the title over that you never thought that you'd be dealing with that. I certainly didn't. What have been, let's say, the highlights, and not the highlights and the lowlights of your reign? And I don't mean low lights, but what's been the most enjoyable part and what's maybe been the struggle of your reign?
Oh gosh, that's such a hard question because I've done so many incredible things over the past 2.5 years. Of course, Miss World has to be the ultimate highlight, I think. Meeting all the girls from all around the world, that'll always have a place, close to my heart. But I think in terms of lowlights, the pandemic will probably, it was tough, being stuck at home, not really being able to do much as Miss Wales. I've been able to do a few online things, but it's not the same as going out and meeting people in person. So I guess that was probably the toughest part is, still having the title and wanting to do things with it, but not really being able to at all. It wasn't possible. So I guess that would probably be the lowest. But I've had so many highlights and incredible moments, and I'm so grateful for everything that, all the opportunities that I've had.
I remember you saying that you took, was it chocolate digestives? I seem to remember chocolate digestives or something like that you had in your room, and all the other Miss World, like the international contestants, they were stealing them.
Yeah, so I love my biscuits and chocolate, so I thought I'm going to have to take them to Miss World with me, in case you need a little snack in the evening. So I had chocolates, digestives, and I was showing them, to dip it in your tea because I love tea. Dipping my chocolate digestives in my tea, and it was Miss Indonesia, I think. She came, tried it, and she was obsessed. And because there was a Tesco's down the street from where we were staying, and she had to go and buy some for herself. But even my chocolate was disappearing because my mother sent a parcel of chocolates for me because I wasn't feeling too well, so she sent me this chocolate, and my roommate ate it. Miss Philippines ate my chocolate, but
a packet of digestives, I don't know how big the packets are. Did you just take one packet? Because if people were stealing it, that would have been gone in one night, surely.
Yeah, definitely. It went so fast. I think I had one packet, but then I did go and buy some more in the shops when we were allowed to leave. It's just just because it was about 4 weeks, a month away, so I needed more than one packet.
And is this the right way? You said dip in tea. Is this the way that the pros do it? Because here in Australia, if you have a Tim Tam, I don't know if you know, it's called a Tim Tam slam. You bite the opposite corners because it's a rectangular biscuit, opposite corners, and you're supposed to suck tea or coffee through it. So this is what you do with the digestives as well. You're supposed to dip it in tea. Is that what everyone should be doing?
Well, that's what they should be doing, I think. I think that's what they were made for. I love biscuits and tea, so anything like that, I'll go straight to my cup of tea. It's the best way.
Doesn't it like get, this is the problem I have with the Tim Tam slam, especially if you're drinking hot stuff through it, it just melts and falls apart into your cup. Doesn't that happen with the digestive? Like if you dip it in, doesn't it go all soggy?
I think there's a skill to it. So you've got to, hold in for like a short amount of time. So it gets a little bit soggy, so the chocolate melts a bit, and then, but not so much that it falls in. But I've had that happen a few times. You have to get a spoon then and scoop it out.
Good, that sounds highly appetizing. Rachel here has said, hello guys, hope you are well. Hello Rachel. And Brad has said chocolate biscuits in tea is an essential. Well, I'm not surprised that you guys can agree on that, because otherwise you'd be having arguments about tea and biscuits. Do you drink coffee at all? Or is it just strictly tea?
No, I don't at all. Tea, it's always tea for me. Or I don't mind a mocha, so a bit of a chocolatey coffee. That's not too bad, but I just don't like the taste. It's too strong for me, coffee.
Well, I was going to say mocha is like coffee for people who don't want coffee, because there's normally so much milk and chocolate in it that you can't taste the coffee. Aside from how to dip biscuits in tea, obviously Miss Wales is coming up in is it a week exactly, or just over a week, right?
Just over a week. I don't think it's hit me yet.
I'm sure it will hit you once you get there, although it'll probably still feel surreal. But obviously you've been through, as I've already said, hopefully one of a kind reign. Like, hopefully no one has to endure the same sort of difficulties that you did. But for your would-be successor, do you have any advice or tips for them apart from how to eat your tea properly, how to eat your biscuits properly?
Yeah, definitely. I think what I'd say is if anyone could learn anything from my time as Miss Wales, is to just take every single opportunity that comes your way, because I was going to say a short amount of time. I've had a little bit longer than everyone else, but, it is a short amount of time in your life. So, just grab it with both hands and just make the most of it, because like you said, it's like once in a lifetime opportunity. So that would be my biggest advice, is just take every opportunity, but of course, enjoy it as well, because it only comes around once, and just make the most of it. And
let me ask you about any advice for the international, because as you already said, it's a long one, 4 weeks, it's a month. And hopefully for the next Miss World Wales, they get to have that experience. It might be a bit weird having been isolated for a year and a bit to suddenly be with other people for 4 weeks. But in terms of any advice dealing with the international, given it's such a long experience, any specific advice for that?
Again, I would say just enjoy it, because even though it is, a good few weeks, when you come home, you just wish that you were still there. It was such an incredible experience, but just speak to as many people as you can, make friends, because that's what it's all about. Of course, there's 111 girls there all together, and only one person can win it. So I think you go there with the mentality that you're just going to have the time of your life, and of course be prepared as well. And always, I'm always here for you if you need any advice or help beforehand, because there is a lot to take in when you go to Miss World. There's so many different aspects to it. So I think just make sure you're prepared for it and just have fun, because not many people can say they've been to Miss World. There's such a small group of us, and it's an honor. So just cherish every moment.
Can you give us an idea how much sleep you got over the 4 weeks?
To be honest, it wasn't that bad. Like, I think especially
Okay.
because I was used to the timing because it was in London. So some girls probably had to
Mm.
adjust their sleep patterns. But it depends. We'd have a lot of rehearsals and we'd get up quite early. I think we'd have to be ready by about 8 a.m. So it wasn't that early.
That's
It was
okay.
okay. Yeah, it's decent time. But there are long days, and then some evenings you'd have free, so you can sleep, whenever you wanted in the evening. So again, my advice for that would just be to sleep when you can. Just you need that sleep because the rehearsals,
I'm
do take it out of you.
I'm amazed that you actually managed to get sleep. I was thinking here you'd be, up at 3 a.m. every day and not in bed until 11 p.m.
Oh
So
no.
I'm glad to hear. I mean, you wouldn't be able to survive always be like tortured with sleep deprivation. You said that, your advice was to prepare, which is great advice. Can you just go back through how you sort of prepared? Give us an idea of the timeline. So obviously the Miss Wales contestants, as we speak, there's only about a week out, so hopefully most of the preparation is done. But can you step us through sort of how you got prepared and how far out you were preparing for the competition for? I mean, you said it was an 8 years, like sort of 8 year journey, but let's say for your title run in 2019, roughly when, like how far before did you start preparing and how did you get prepared?
I think for me, I did it in 2016 and I came top 5 in 2016. So my preparation started from that moment. I think I knew I was going to do it again, even though it was about three years ahead. I did it in 2019. So I knew before I even applied again for the third time, I was already preparing and thinking about, everything was relating to my dream was to be Miss Wales. So everything, it probably took over my life, but, I just loved it so much. I love pageantry. So yeah, my preparations definitely started way before, becoming a finalist. And I think that's important as well, because if I had just started preparing as soon as I was accepted as a finalist, I may not have been as prepared, but I knew in my mind exactly, what I wanted to do and what I wanted to bring to the role. But then again, I suppose I went to the training days and stuff as well, and they really helped when I was a finalist. They helped me so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a whole journey, not just from when you're a finalist. Well, for me personally, that was the case anyway. It took me years to prepare for it.
Of course. Stephanie here has said internationals don't forget to eat. I don't think there's a
that's
pageant.
good. Well,
I don't think there's a pageant girl out there who would ever forget to eat. We often talk about food. I'm sure someone's going to want me to ask this. You can probably tell what question is coming, but you're about to hand over. So pageantry. I've seen all the amazing things you've been doing with your broadcasting career. So that's really taken off. Any pageant plans for the future, Gabriella? That's the big question.
Well,
that's one I always have to ask.
Well, I'd say, never say never. For now, I'm concentrating on my career for the next few months at least. But yeah, again, you never know. I don't want to say no because we never know what the future holds.
Right. Okay. That's the answer I like to hear. Play it close. Play it close to your chest. Let's switch to the career and how it's going. Since we last had you on, that looks like to me you've had amazing things happening. So can you just bring me up to speed? To be honest, it's been hard to keep up with it because I've seen you appearing one thing and then another thing, and it's like, wow, she's achieving so much, which has been amazing to see. So update us with what's been happening with the career.
Oh gosh, it's been crazy, to be honest, since the last time I spoke to you. I think it's just absolutely gone crazy. I started presenting for Swansea City Football Club. If the listeners don't know, it's quite a big club in South Wales in the Championship. So that was an absolute dream come true for me to get that role. And I'm only a few weeks in, but I absolutely loving every moment of it. I'm presenting the live match day shows on Swans TV. So it's been absolutely incredible. And I've also started doing stuff for the Ospreys, which is a rugby team in Wales. So I've been, so busy, but it's been incredible, and I'm just so grateful for these opportunities because I haven't graduated yet. I'm doing a master's in sports broadcasting. I don't graduate till next year, so to have these opportunities come now while I'm still on the course. So I've been trying to fit in, my assignments as well as doing everything else. So it's been hectic, but I love it.
I didn't realize you hadn't graduated yet. So you're still studying and you're trying to keep. So how did the opportunities come about? Because there's quite a few pageant girls who want to get into a broadcasting career. And this might surprise some people, actually, specifically what you're doing, sports broadcasting. So, I mean, obviously you're studying, that's your field, and I'm sure, work hard. But how did those specific opportunities come up?
Well, of course, I started my podcast in January. It's called She Has a Goal in Mind. So that was all about, I still going, we're on the second season now. So it's all about women in sports. We talk to women from each, different corners of sport, from broadcast to athletes, to women who are directors, work at football clubs, loads of different areas. So we had an episode on there with two ladies that work at Swansea City Football Club. And one's Sophie, she's the social media manager. And also Rebecca, she's the head of commercial at Swansea City Football Club. And I think there's only 2 women in the whole of the championship that have that role. So I thought that was incredible. So we had them on the podcast and chatted to them. And then afterwards, I messaged Rebecca about work experience because we needed to do some work experience for our course. And we tried to sort it out, but it was quite hard because of the pandemic and stuff. So that kind of, fell through. We didn't really get around to that. And then she messaged me about a job that was coming up. And but it wasn't really for me at the time because it was full time and I still wanted to do presenting. And then the opportunity came up then for Swans TV, and she asked if I was interested. And I was like, yes, oh my gosh, that would be incredible. So it just went from there, really. And then with the Ospreys, I knew a few people that worked there a few years ago, and I messaged them before I started the course to let them know I was doing this course. I'd love to have work experience again if there's anything I can help with. So I started off doing social media bits, editing videos, and then they messaged me about a new project they were doing, which is called the Ospreys Insider, which is a fortnightly news roundup show, and they asked me if I wanted to host that. So it's just it's weird to say, cliche, but everything's just fallen into place. It's a bit crazy, but looking back of how these things have come about. But yeah, it's just kind of, through networking, and I've worked so hard on the podcast, and meeting as many people as possible. So, and people have seen what I've been doing on social media because I post about it a lot. Hopefully I don't annoy too many people with me posting, but that's the way to, to get out there these days, to show people what you're up to and what you can do. So that's what, it's mainly through social media and the podcast, really.
Will you have time to keep working on the podcast? As you said, you're on season 2. Your last season was about 6 or 7 episodes long?
No, it was 20.
20?
We've done 20
For some reason, I thought it was
it.
a lot shorter than that. Okay, 20. Geez, my commiserations.
Yeah,
it's hard
20.
work. It really, really is.
It is hard work.
Will you have time to keep doing it, given... I would assume now that your career, given that the pandemic is kind of rolling back and in the UK, the freedoms are coming back, hopefully your career is going to go step to step, strength to strength to strength, which means you're going to have less and less time. So obviously that time needs to be pulled away from other things. So we give pageantry, let's say, a break for a while. Are you going to have time to keep doing the podcast?
Well, hopefully. The plan is to keep doing it for as long as we can, because it's me and my friend Darcy who we co-host and co-produce the podcast. So she's working full-time at the moment, as well as, doing assignments and everything. So we're both trying to work around each other's schedules, and, booking guests in and trying to find the time where we're all available as well is quite difficult. We've done 1 episode of the second season, but we're still trying to fit in the second. So it's probably not going to be as regular as the first season was, because that was weekly, but we still really want to keep doing it because we just enjoy it, and it's lovely to chat to other females in the industry and find out what they've gone through to get to where they are now. So the aim is to keep going. It just may not be as regular, and I'll try and fit it in as much as I can, even if it's evenings or whenever. We'll try and make it work.
You're not going to be getting much sleep, Gabriella.
No. That's the thing. I always
does the broadcasting
I
have
put things in.
Yeah. Does the broadcasting have any like really early hours, or is it relatively civilized?
I think possibly once you get probably on a bigger scale. It depends, I think. I'm quite lucky at the moment. Things really haven't been that early. Like the football kickoffs have been quite late in the night, so I haven't been going in until the evening. And all my prep is done like the day before, so I don't have to go in too early because it's all done. So it's never been too early yet. I have a show next Sunday. It's my first live show on SOC, so on the Welsh channel. I'm doing a program called Sgorio, so it's my first huge job. It's for the women's football as a reporter, so I'm excited for that, but I don't know what time that will be yet, so whether that'll be early, I'm not too sure, but I think I'll just take it as it comes, and if it is early, then I'll just have to put up with it, because the things you do for the things you're passionate about, so I'll do it.
Well, I'm sure you'll be having a massive adrenaline rush, so I'm sure you probably won't get any sleep the night before, because you'll want it obviously to go well. Just going back to the comments for a second, Lauren has asked, we covered this a little bit before, but what would be your top tip for us finalists heading into the Miss Wales final? So if you had to narrow it down to one, I mean, obviously Lauren knows very much what she's doing, but any top tips?
Oh gosh, tips. Do you know, it's been so long, I can't think. Probably just focus on yourself would be one, because there's so many of you there, and I know it can be overwhelming if you've never done a pageant before, when people are talking about things they've done, or what they're doing for it, and sometimes people can get a bit overwhelmed. So I think just concentrate on your own journey, and I think you can't go wrong if you just worry about what you're doing. Again, enjoy, because it's incredible experience. This over 3 days, so it's the empowerment day is the best day probably of the Miss Wales final. And just take it all in, enjoy, and obviously there's going to be one winner, but just because you don't win that time doesn't mean you're never going to make it, because it took me 3 times. So just don't be too disheartened if you don't win or get to where you wanted to be this time. But I think that would be my top tip.
How many girls roughly were competing when you won the title, Gabriella?
I think there was about 35 or 36 girls. I think there's a bit less this year because of the pandemic and different situations. People had to leave, and we've had a few new people in, so it's a bit less this year. But it's usually about 40 odd girls.
Right. Okay. That's one thing that I actually forgot, is that the contestants, a lot of them have been getting ready since before the pandemic. So they've been preparing for probably, at least a year and a bit. So they're probably itching and ready to go as well. Lauren has said, unless you've aged out and can't do it again. That's true. Well, there's not much you can do about that, right? Unless you can age backwards. Now, Brad here has asked a question. I think he's using this opportunity to find out more about you. Who are your 3 biggest inspirations, non-celebrity? I don't even know this answer. Well, there you go. 3 biggest inspirations, but they can't be celebrities.
Oh, gosh.
And you can have a word to him afterwards about asking you questions during the interview.
3 biggest inspirations. 3 inspirations.
Well, let's start with one. And not a celebrity. And we can go from there.
Not a celebrity. There's so many, to be honest with you, in different areas. I suppose, well, Brad would be one of them, because he works so hard in his career. He's a musician, and, he's done it all himself, and he's got, he's doing so amazing. So he would be one of them. I hope that's the answer he was looking for. No,
Well, yeah,
but
no, Lauren has said Brad is just fishing for you to say him, and I do agree.
no.
That was a very, especially since he said 3. So he's like, in the 3, if I don't make the top 3,
He asked
then
me to be one of
maybe,
them.
yeah. So, and look,
No,
he said there it
there's
is.
so many
So there you
people,
go.
like...
He did just want you to say him. Is there anyone
he probably
else
just wants to shout out.
Yeah, anyone else top of the mind that comes to you, or do we just settle for Brad as final answer?
I'd probably say my grandfather as well. He's one of my biggest inspirations, and especially over the pandemic, we've been through like such a tough time as a family. And again, he's always been so supportive of everything I do. So definitely, and my grandfather, and yeah, members of my family in general, they've all been supportive. My brother as well. So it's hard to choose, small amount.
Well, as long as you said Brad, I think Brad can die happy now. I want to ask you a little bit about just media appearances. So not necessarily interview, because now you're having a lot of experience where you're interviewing other people. And then obviously as you said, you're about to do your first big live broadcast. And as you well know, I don't need to tell you this, going live is a whole different kettle of fish because it's live. There's an added level of pressure. You never really know what's going to happen. And a lot of pageant girls obviously are doing interviews. During the pandemic, everyone jumped online. So everyone was doing interviews, which is great. But I feel that it'd be good to get some media tips from you as to how to sort of get your point across and come across as personable, because it's maybe not the easiest thing for a lot of people to do, because, the first time they get this thing, switch it on to live, they immediately go pageant mode or start panicking. So in terms of just the media training you've had and how to sort of present yourself, be professional and yet be personable at the same time, what sort of training or what sort of tips do you have there? I'd be fascinated to hear.
Oh, that's quite a tough one. I think like most of the training I've had is from the other side, so me interviewing people. But then again, I think these days it's all about your personality. You have to be yourself, because that's what makes you personable. There's no point being, I know there's like you said, pageant mode. Sometimes people can get robotic. And there's some typical pageant answers and that sort of thing. So I think, we need to scrap that. Just be yourself. Of course, you need to know what you're talking about. Again, there's no point making things up or saying things, that aren't true, or exaggerating maybe some things that you've done. I think just be yourself. I think that's the best way to go about it. But of course, you need to know your stuff as well. It depends again what the interview is, I suppose, and
of course
what it is about. But yeah, just be yourself, be confident, and just believe in yourself. And I think that's the main tips, I think, for me, because it is more about personality these days, in every industry, not just pageantry. I think like from my career point of view, that's what gets everyone loving you, and I think it's all about who you are.
Have you found it different or challenging? Because obviously you've interviewed a lot yourself through pageantry, and now you're the one who gets to ask the questions. And if you wanted to, I mean, you could ask really, really difficult questions as sort of revenge or karmic retribution. But how have you found it sort of being on the other side of the camera or microphone, so to speak?
It is a bit crazy, but I think I'm used to it now. So now, like, being interviewed now by you, it feels a bit strange, that because I'm normally the one interviewing someone else. Like these questions that come up, like who's your biggest inspirations and stuff. I'm usually asking those, and in the podcast we ask stuff like who's your dream dinner guest, and they answer, and they're like, that's a tough question, and then I was like, I know I wouldn't be able to answer it myself. So it's a bit strange being on the other end. So I love interviewing people, I love chatting to people, but to be interviewed now is a bit weird, actually.
That's fair enough. Do you have on your podcast, I can't remember, do you have fixed questions, like certain questions that you ask every episode?
There's only towards the end we ask 3 questions to the guest. They're different every episode. Sometimes we will use the same one now and then, but the one question that is the same in every episode is, what's your favorite quote and why? So that's the only fixed question, but all the others kind of depends on the person. We do the research on the guest, and that just depends on them.
Can you hear me? Am I still
No, I can hear you. Yeah.
My
Hear you.
computer froze for a sec. So I dropped out when you said favorite quote. So just after you run me through what you said after that.
So the favorite quote question is the only fixed one that's in every episode. We also ask, because the podcast is called She Has a Goal in Mind, we always ask, what's your goal for the next year, or what are your personal goals? So them two are kind of the fixed ones, but all the rest depends on who the guest is. They're just general ones about their lives and that.
Right. Okay. So, I mean, you've asked that question many times, so I'm sure you have had a lot of time to think of your own answers. So, no, in terms of a favorite quote, I mean, geez, that would be. I pick up certain quotes and then I post them, but a favorite quote, that would be difficult. Do you have one yourself?
There's one that I like is what is it? Oh, you can always have more money, but you'll never have more time. I like that quote, just to make most of everything, because they said you can always get more money. So if you want to do something, just do it, and then think about the money later. If that makes sense.
That was a.
But it's more about time is precious, so make the most of it, sort of thing.
Yeah. Do you watch superhero movies at all? I won't be offended if you say no, but
I've watched a few.
Right. I only ask because at the end of the Avengers Endgame, there's a part where Tony Stark says no amount of money ever bought a second of time, or no amount of money ever bought a minute of time. And that's the advice that his father gave him. And I thought that was really, really good advice.
That's a good one. Yeah. So that's that sort of thing I was thinking, time is more important than the money. But then whenever I ask the question on the podcast, and the women say all these different inspirational quotes, I'm like, oh, I like that one. I like them all. So it always makes me, think of things differently as well, which is good.
Yeah, it does. And the other question you said you asked is a goal, and I think it's a good thing to ask you what your goals are, because I mean, so much has changed. So you're about to hand over your title, and your career is going from strength to strength to strength, and it hopefully will continue to do so. So is it possible for you to set goals when you're just sort of living in the moment and you're getting all these amazing opportunities?
Well, my goal was to, be a sports presenter, and I think I've kind of hit that goal already, and not expected it to be so soon. So my goal really is just to keep continue going as I am at the moment, because things are going really well, and I've worked so hard throughout the past year on my course and everything to get here now. So my goal is just hopefully for it to continue going this way, and just see what happens. But I don't have another set goal at the moment. It's just hopefully it goes as well as it is now.
Yeah. And when did you say you'll finish your masters? Is that next year?
Yes. So I think I graduate next June, July time. I have my dissertation left to go, so that's due in January. So after the dissertation's in, I've kind of finished, but the graduation isn't until July officially then.
Dissertation sounds painful. I've had a few people
it's actually not too bad, I think.
It's not too bad?
Yeah. No, because it's not written, and writing is not my strong point at all. So this one is a 15-minute sports documentary. So I'm quite confident that I can do it. So I'm excited to do it. To be honest,
that's not fair. Yeah. That would be so exciting and interesting to do compared to writing a 10,000-word dissertation. Yeah. That actually sounds fun.
Yeah, exactly. I'm looking forward to it. When I did my undergrad, I did sport and exercise science, and I had to write, about 10,000 word dissertation, and it was painful. So now to not have to write one again is amazing. I had to do like 3,000 words, a proposal for it, which it was okay, it was manageable. But this one, actually making the documentary and filming and editing it and stuff, even though it's going to take a while, I enjoy it. So I'm looking forward to doing it.
Yeah, that's a dissertation I can get behind. I have to ask. I mean, obviously, you're broadcasting and you're seeing a lot of sports, soccer, football, or football, rugby, whichever two words you use to describe it. I forget. But in terms of yourself, are you keeping up with any sports? Because I remember from when I interviewed you're very sporty yourself. So do you have time now to keep up with any competitive or recreational sport yourself?
Oh, no, I haven't had the chance, to be honest. I wanted to start back to a netball club, but I haven't got around to it. I've messaged a few people about going, and it just hasn't happened. So I would love to do that, but it's just I don't know if I'd be able to even compete. So I'd be able to go training, but I don't know if I'd be able to actually compete in it. But I have just been trying to keep active a little bit. I had a personal trainer that I was going to weekly, but things have got so busy this next month. I'm not going to be able to go at all. I don't think I can't fit it in. Yeah. But I've been enjoying going to the personal trainer and trying new things like weights and that. But I would definitely love to do competitive sport again. But when that will be, I don't know.
When you can fit it in, I suppose. I think on the note of sports, I want to show. So I think you posted it maybe on your, the obstacle course that you guys were doing.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember whether you was that on your personal Instagram or the Miss Wales one?
I think it was the Miss Wales. I put a picture of us all because we only did it yesterday. Just a picture on mine, but on the Miss Wales one, I made a video. I edited a video together of us doing the obstacle course, and
you're getting
there's
that
a few
video
pictures on there.
You got those video editing skills down now.
Yeah.
So here it is. I'll just show people a bit of it. Here we go. You look like you're in a field of wheat. Was that in someone's like a farm?
It was in the countryside. It was in the middle of nowhere next to like a caravan park. It's called a place called Adventure Wales, and it was meant to be a muddy obstacle course, and it was quite muddy, but it was better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be head to toe, your face covered, right. But it wasn't too bad. Nobody fell in, so it went well.
You're not a fan of getting muddy?
Well, to be honest, there was a bit that we had to crawl under that was quite muddy, and some girls got through it with nothing on them. But then I saw the mud and I thought, it's meant to be a muddy obstacle course, so I rolled in it. I just sat in it and I was like, I may as well.
What was the toughest part of the course?
There was these wooden walls that were quite high, and there was nowhere to put your foot in, nowhere to grab onto. So they were really difficult because none of us could get up on our own. So we did a bit of teamwork and helped each other over. But that was quite hard, pulling yourself over them. And then I think that was probably the toughest bit. The other ones were quite fun, I thought. And again, there's one that was like a tunnel and you had to crawl in, and it was quite confined space. So that was quite hard. Yeah. But I've got a few bruises and grazes from it. So I've got evidence that I did it.
Is that girl wearing an Italian flag as a dress?
No, I think it's like a Welsh tutu. So it's the Welsh colours in a form of a tutu.
Okay, so I was going to say that makes more sense because just from looking at it, it looks like an Italian flag, which I was confused about.
Looking at it now, it does a little bit, but no, it's meant to be the Welsh colours.
Well, that's certainly something different. You don't see pageant girls rolling in mud every day. How have video editing skills come on. I can't remember if you are naturally a tech person or not, and video editing is not the easiest thing in the world. I've got to assume that your video editing skills have up-leveled significantly.
Oh, definitely. When I started the course, I had absolutely no clue of where to start. We had, workshops on Adobe Premiere and all these different software, and I didn't have a clue. I remember just sitting there staring at my screen thinking I can't keep up with it. I had no clue. But whenever I set my mind to something, I always, want to make sure that I can do it or achieve it. So when it was like the Christmas holidays, I made sure I sat there and just for hours I would sit there and edit videos, things that we'd filmed at uni. I would just sit there for ages trying to work it out. And so I got there in the end, and I think, they're not too bad. I've been working recently for World Rugby, so I've been doing social media producing for them, making videos for their platform. So I think it's come on really well, and it's crazy to see work that you've done. This time last year I wasn't even on the course yet, so how far I've come in a year of doing it is crazy. To see my work on these big massive like Instagram pages, and they've had hundreds of thousands of views, so I'm just like, whoa. I never thought a year ago that would happen.
That's got to be surreal. I found, because I use Adobe Premiere as well, and I don't know if you found the same thing, but it's a software I think you can be overwhelmed by how much you can do, because there's so many things it can do. But I think it's important just to focus on the bits that you need for yourself to use, because I mean it's a completely professional suite. I mean, your Hollywood movies are edited on it. So sometimes when you take a course like that, you're just overwhelmed by how much you can do. And I think, I don't know if you found definitely the same, just focus on the bits that you need for your work, not the 99 billion other things it can do that you'll never need to use.
Yeah, to be honest, I probably don't even know half of the stuff that it can do, because I've just I use the same things sort of over and over, because I think once you know the basics, you're fine. You can just do it. That's all you need is the basics. Like you said, there's so much to it. I don't think my brain would even cope with half of this stuff that you can do in there. So I just like to keep it simple. Yeah,
that makes sense. Gabriella, just before we wrap up for the evening, I'm sure you're going to have a handover speech or handover, and you've been working on that. Is there anyone that you want to give a shout out to for the last 8 years, as you said? You've mentioned Brad already, so don't forget to put Brad in there. But just in general, any shout outs, directors, sponsors, family, friends, that sort of thing?
Yeah, definitely. There's so many people, and well, this afternoon I had to sit down and write some words for the Miss Wales final programme. So, I had to sit and really think about it, and I was getting quite emotional, thinking back of everything. But yeah, I would definitely, of course, like to thank Paula Bandonata, who's the Miss Wales director, for making this all happen. And I know it's been tough the past year trying to work out when the Miss Wales final could happen, and she's done so amazing over the past, well, how many years she's been running it, giving so many girls the opportunity and platform to achieve their dreams. So thank you to Paula. And of course, my family, my mother, my brother, my grandparents, everyone in my family, for being so supportive since 2014, since I first started Miss Wales, and for putting up with me, and especially Brad as well in the house, putting up with me for, I know sometimes it's all I talk about. I can't help it. But thank you all for always being there and coming to my events and supporting me, and my friends as well. They came to Miss World to watch, and they've come to and then they're not really pageant fans, but they'll come and support everything I do. So thank you to them. And sponsors, gosh, Kelly and Mandy from 102 Couture, my dress sponsors, they've been absolutely incredible. Trying to find me my dream dress for Miss World was hard work probably, so they went above and beyond for me to find the perfect one, and they still are so helpful. I'm so grateful to them. And of course, sponsors Cardiff Diamonds as well have been amazing, and so supportive in everything I've done as well personally. And gosh, everyone, Laugh and Dental for perfecting my teeth for Miss World. So yeah, there's been so many people. I hope I haven't forgotten anyone. I probably have. There's been, absolutely so many people have helped me along the way. From the previous winners as well, for giving me tips and helping me throughout my journey. There's just been so many, but I'm so grateful for everything, and the opportunity to represent Wales has just been the dream, really.
Yeah, when the journey has been as long as yours, there's a lot of people to thank. It's what they say, like takes a village to raise a child, that sort of idea. Yeah. Final question, just in terms of emotions, how on the waterworks scale 1 to 10, how much you strike me as someone, especially, and given that you've done so much media now, you got to keep your emotions under check somewhat. So you strike me as someone who could probably keep your emotions in check fairly well. But in terms of how much waterworks we're expecting, are we expecting completely stone face, no emotions, or 10, a complete snotty mess? Like, where do you think you're going to be falling on the scale?
I honestly don't know. When I won Miss Wales, I didn't think I would cry, and I was a mess. So, and every time I think about handing over and doing a speech, I get quite emotional thinking about it. So, God, I really don't know. I don't know what to expect from myself. But I'll try my hardest not to cry. But I'm not gonna lie, it probably will. It probably will. Probably not at the main final. I think I'm hosting, so I'll probably try and keep it as professional as I can. Okay. But in the ball, maybe, I don't know, honestly. I think it's strange to say that we've been waiting for so long for this to happen, but now it's happening really quickly, and it's just trying to get my head around it that this time in a few days I won't be Miss Wales anymore, and there'll be an amazing new Miss Wales. So it's just crazy.
Well, you'll always be Miss Wales 2019. No one can ever take you away. Take that away from you. I didn't realize you were hosting. That's got to be a tough gig. You got to keep it together whilst you're going to be highly. That'll be a challenge. That might be your toughest challenge yet, as a sort of a broadcaster, is to stay professional whilst going through a whirlwind of emotions. That's going to be tough.
I know, definitely, it probably will be tough, but I'm really excited for it, and I think I am really excited for the final to come, but I don't know what to expect when I'm going to be in the situation, but we'll see how it goes. But I'm excited.
Well, all I would say is bring tissues. Just bring tissues. You probably will need them.
Just in case.
Well, Gabriella, let's leave it there for tonight. Congratulations on your amazing reign. Congratulations on how your career is going. I love seeing you guys kicking goals. And thank you so much for coming on tonight. Thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you for having me. And I love coming on to chat to you. So thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed it.
I still remember the first time we interviewed. Have you changed your opinion on Velvet?
No, still the same.
I can literally just see your composure crack right there as soon as I said Velvet.
I wish it was.
I don't think I will ever forget that answer. It's been one of the answers no one else has ever said that, and most people love it so much, and you're just like, I can't talk about it. One day, I can't. One day you'll be able to tell me where that stemmed from, because it seems like a deep-seated psychological issue.
If it is, I really don't know but it haunts me daily. We have a blind in the kitchen, and it's velvet, and sometimes you have to take it down and put it, and it's like a roller one, so you have to roll it with your hands. And Brad does it on purpose. He makes me put it back up because he knows.
Okay. Well, good to know there's fun happening behind the scenes. Gabrielle, I'll keep you on the line for just a sec whilst I hang up with the audience. Thanks to everyone for watching, whether it's live or on the replay, and we will speak to you next time. Bye for now. Thanks for watching. Just a reminder to you entrepreneurial types to come and join us at our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/the Pageant Boss. I'll see you inside and see you in the next episode.